Hi, my name is Mimmo Bruno, and I'm one of the cheese makers for BelGioioso. We make 25 different kinds of Italian cheeses, special cheeses. And today we're going to be showing you how to make fresh mozzarella. First, we're going to show you the tools that we need to stretch curd. We start with a knife to slice the curd. Then we got a cutting board to put the curd on. We need salt. We need a bowl to hold all our curd inside. Then we need a bowl where we're going to stretch the curd. Then we need a third bowl to put our final product with cold water. Then we need a measuring cup, which we need that to pour hot water, which will start boiling behind us, and a wood stick to pull the curd. To begin, we're going to open up a 5-pound bag of curd. If there's any juice inside, you want to drain it in your sink, or if not, just take it out. Now, when you take the curd out, if you're going to be using a 2-pound, I will suggest to cut the 2-pound out of your block and refrigerate the rest of it. Okay, now we're going to start slicing the curd, and the way I suggest to do it is to go down and slice it in a 1/4-inch slices. And the reason we do this is because when we put it in the bowl, the water can get around it really fast and melt it equally while we stretching it. First we slice it. This is the 5-pound. Like I said, 1/4-inch slice. This curd is made in our plants where we use fresh cow's milk, picked up fresh daily. And you can see while I'm cutting this how easy the knife goes through. That means that it has a nice consistency of softness, and it's going to be really easy to stretch it. So what we're going to do is, when we're ready with the cut, because the curd is cold, we're going to put it in our bowl and pour some warm water to bring it to a warm temperature. So now this is the first cut. Now we're going to do a second cut, which you put them up and cut it approximately 1 inch apart, and then go crossway. And now we formed like a cube, which is a 1/4-inch by 1 inch by 1.5. That's approximately, doesn't have to be right on the measurement. Now we put it in our bowl, and we continue with the rest of it. We do the same cutting. The reason I'm cutting the little pieces, it's again that the water will go around it and will make it much easier to stretch and pull it. And also, it will give a chance for the salt to go around it in each pieces. This is the last cut. See how nice and soft it is? When you see it is nice and soft, you know that you're going to get a nice stretch and the really final product. All right, now that we have all our curd nice and sliced in little cubes, because we have too much in this bowl, 5 pounds, what I'm going to do is transfer some in a different bowl that we can use later on and do like approximately half of it, 2.5 pounds. Then what we do is we get a cup, get to my hot water, and we're going to pour it gently, not right on top of the curd, but on the side of the bowl. Because if you go right on top of the curd, you're going to damage the proteins and the fat, and you're going to lose all the fat out of it. So you don't want to do that. So what you do is you just put approximately 2 cups for 2.5 pounds. Again, pour it around it, and then you let it sit at least for 2 minutes until the curd gets to a nice warm temperature. So when you start picking it up with your hands, you feel it, that it's at approximately a warm temperature. When it gets to that warm temperature, you dump the water, the first water. Be careful, don't lose any cheese. And then we have to put salt on it. We're going to be using 1 tablespoon per pound. So we have 2.5 pounds. We're going to put 2.5 tablespoons. We're going to spread it on top. Then we're going to put more hot water. The water should be in the 175 to 180 degree. Again, we go gentle with the water on the side of the bowl, not right on top of the curd. And we let it sit and watch it gently until you can see a stretching start, which it is, you're going to see all the little pieces melting together. So you bring it back into the bowl, make sure it's covered with hot water, and then you just keep on turning it and pulling up. So now obviously the water is getting colder because of the curd. It wasn't at a high temperature. So what we do is we check it to see at the stretching point. If you see that it's still breaking apart, we had another cup of hot water. Like that, always on the side, and we let it sit. Now, the good idea to make fresh mozzarella from curd is that you can serve it right after it's cooled down, and you can taste the freshness of the product, which is gives you that really fresh product. What I suggest to do is only to stretch what you would be using for the day, because once you refrigerate it, the day after is not going to taste the same as when you finish stretching it. So now we look at it, we see the curd that is coming to a stretching point. You don't want it too hot because you don't want to burn it, and you don't want it too cold. So the right feeling is when you see it that it starts pulling, like you're pulling on a rubber band. That's the texture that you're looking for. But it has to be all equal. The whole curd needs to look all even. See, right now you're looking at chunks of curd still in there, so that means you need now to start working it by bringing it all together. And while you're bringing it together, you need to pull up, stretching it. There's still chunks in there. So it takes about 5 minutes to get to the right texture. Just keep on turning and pulling. Okay, now that you see that the curd, it's all even and it stretches like pulling on an elastic band, a rubber band, it's ready to go. So right here I have prepared some water. This is just tap water, no ice, because it will ruin the product if it's too cold. Going from hot to cold, it will ruin the product. Now you start forming the mozzarella. Now, depending on what side you want to do. If you want to form a novoline side, which is an egg side, so you prepare your curd like a 2-inch wide, then you fold first backwards, forwards, and then you go through your fingers, you push with one hand until you get a nice form, and then you just break with the other hand. Now, that's to make a novoline. If you want to make a bigger side, you make a bigger roll. Again, you fold back, forward, go between your two fingers, push with the other hand. When it's ready, you use these two fingers to break it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm breaking the cheese, and that's how we got the name of mozzarella, because in Naples, when you're doing this, it's basically you mozza. Mozza means I'm breaking, and that's how they came with the word mozzarella. Now, if you want to make a smaller side, like a ciliegine side, I would suggest not to do a lot of curd, but only to stretch like a 1-pound curd, because it takes more time, and you really want to get the whole curd done in less than 5 minutes, because otherwise it will dry up on you. So if you want to do a ciliegine side, you do a smaller row. Again, fold back and forth, fold it, push between your fingers with one, and then again, you mozza, you break it. Once you have the mozzarella in the cold water, you should keep it in there until it gets at the same temperature of the water. And you can feel it by squeezing it, that you can see it gets a hard texture to it. Now again, I would suggest to stretch enough to eat for the day. That's the purpose to buy curd. If you're going to buy curd, the idea is to take a piece at a time out, make your fresh mozzarella, and eat it fresh. Now, if you do have leftover, I would recommend to put it in the saran wrap and save it in the refrigerator for the next day. But if you can avoid that, it's better. Again, the idea to get fresh curd is to eat the product fresh, and I'll show you why. When it's fresh like this, when you slice right into it, you can see it inside nice and juicy. You can see the freshness of the product, and that's how you want to eat it. That's why, again, just stretch enough that you will need for the day, and don't do more than what you need. This is really fresh, and it tastes really good, really fresh. Enjoy the fresh mozzarella, and you can have it with caprese, fresh tomatoes. You can have it in sandwiches, or you can make a pasta with it. And my preferred way to eat it is just bite right into it. Thank you.